just telling me what we're talking about, because normally I don't even know until I get here.
Yeah, we're on brand. That's normally how we do it, don't we, when we record? We're just like, what we talking? Hey, here we go.
There we go.
Next hour.
So, welcome to the Neurodivergent Experience. I'm your host, Jordan James, the autistic photographer, and this is my co-host and very best friend, Simon Scott.
Hello, and today we are at Autistic Minds Live, which is wonderful, so thank you everyone for coming in today. And in this little seminar, or live episode, we're going to be talking about life after diagnosis, how it changed us. Blimey, did it. Right, do you want to start?
Can do,
Where should
yeah.
we start?
Yeah, where shall we start? First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who is here and everybody who does listen to the podcast or just generally supports what we're doing, which is just trying to change lives.
It absolutely is. Like, when I approached Jordan about doing this podcast, I was in a crap part of my life. I just had a diagnosis and I thought my life is over because I read all the rhetoric online, I read all the wrong stuff. And I thought, wow, where do we begin? I was like collecting badges. I went in for the diagnosis, waiting for one thing, and came out with about 5 or 6. And obviously that was overwhelming. And I've been working in broadcasting for about 10 years, always behind the glass, really struggled to find my voice. I'm sure like a lot of people. And I was introduced to Jordan through a friend, and I learned more about myself in that hour talking to this man that I've learned in 28 years, because he recognised me.
Mm.
And that's very hard when you've never been seen, or you have been seen but not understood. And when I approached you, the only thing that I said about starting a podcast was, I want to make a podcast that would have really helped me.
Yeah.
And it has, it's changed my life. It's made my life so much better. The fact that I'm in Cardiff, miles away from my bedroom, talking in front of all of you, for me is one of the biggest victories of my life, because I didn't think I would be able to ever do this. I've made podcasts for people for 10 years, always wished it was me, and now I'm here because of meeting you and finding out that I'm neurodivergent. I felt like, you know, the Wizard of Oz, when it goes from black and white to colour? Just like that.
No, man, when I wanted to be part of this podcast because my photography shows the world how I see it. My words through Facebook and through my book, yeah, available, and shut up. Questions at the end, please. It was a difficult time for me when I didn't know I was autistic. So when Simon came to me about the podcast, and he said, I want to make a podcast for all the people that were in our position when we first got diagnosed, and the NHS or whoever got us diagnosed, we just left. It's like, oh, by the way, you have autism or you're autistic.
Good luck.
And then it's, good luck with that. And I was in a position, I was 36, 37. I just got diagnosed through the NHS. And my favourite thing about it was, oh, there is a support group for you. And I went, you don't understand autism. Thank you. I was like, what's this group like? And they went, oh, you all sit around in a circle. And I went, so I have to be near people in a group of strangers. She went, yeah. I went, you don't understand autism. And you especially don't understand my autism. Because that is the key, ladies and gentlemen, is it is mine. It isn't autism, it's my autism, it's my brain, it's individual, it's unique to my experiences, my synaptic pruning process, my wiring, it's mine. And it's no good looking online and going, oh, I'm going to study this thing now. Because all I found was, you are damaged, you are broken, you are a problem, You are society's problem. We are not the problem. We, ladies and gentlemen, are the solution to the problems. Our brains, our unique talents, the way that we can hyper-focus, the way that we can see things that neurotypical people can't. We're not out of the box. We don't even remember where we put the box. Might be a bit ADHD there. It's like I had it and now I forgot where I put it. We changed the world. We advanced the world. And it's not like, oh, we're better. We're different. But when people are telling you that different is bad, I could not take it. And I felt awful. And then I started taking these blank pictures. See, actually, ironically enough, this is like darkness. This is how I felt.
Hey!
And then this is what came of it. And it was understanding that although I am disabled, and I'm never going to be afraid of that word, it doesn't mean broken, it doesn't mean awful. It means I struggle with certain things. I have multiple disabilities, all of which before I hated, but because I found the positives of being different, now I look at it as going, well, instead of hating what I can't do, I find accommodation and I feel good about what I can't do because I will hyper-focus on the things that I can do. And that's why finding photography, understanding being autistic, and writing my own rhetoric for my own autism and creating a narrative for me, which I was able to then put in the book and I was able to put through Facebook. And then, thanks to this amazing human, I was able to put into words through our podcast. And that's what has been amazing for me about getting my diagnosis.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with all of that. When I had my diagnosis, I just went, wow, I've just been infected with this thing. It wasn't like it was a part of me. I remember having a really bad meltdown in front of my mum and just going, this is an autistic meltdown, Mum. Get used to it. And she was like, this is my first rodeo, kid. I've seen this all before, but you're just figuring this out. And what was nice about that is then my dad was like, yeah, I know, you got meltdown. He just, oh, there we go, the whole family, we're all off. It's like my family when we got diagnosed, we got 3 for 1, it was great. Really great system there, but blimey, I mean, for those that have listened to our podcast, you will hear me in episode 1 and listen to me now. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like, it makes me really emotional thinking, wow, look at you, Si. You sign off in front of all these people. How amazing is that?
That's right. I've done better.
But I never would have found my why without the diagnosis. I was going, why am I like this? What do they get that I don't get? It's like, what game is it that these people are playing? Where's this instruction manual with all the cheat codes? Why am I figuring this out and everyone else is like, oh, it's easy, mate, just do that. And yet, there's me there who can listen to a conversation and I'm already editing it in my brain. It's here. It's like, I feel like Iron Man and I go, boom, and the hood just opens up. I can see the editing window. I can see how I'm going to post it, what I want to say, what I want to do. Trying to explain that to somebody who doesn't see the world how we see it, it's like tuning into a different radio station, different frequency. They ain't going to listen. So we have made a podcast for people to find themselves, because that's why we did it. Like I said, when we got together, I said, I want to make a podcast that's going to change my life. It's going to help me. And blimey, it's the best thing I've ever done. I'm so proud of what we've made.
So,
yeah.
When you suspected that you were autistic, because I initially suspected ADHD, and then that autism there just snuck right in there.
Oh yeah, just like
the sneakytism just snuck right in there. Yeah, it's like a sneak attack. It's good. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And how did that change? Like from like not understanding to then actually understanding?
As I was talking about with the manual and the cheat code, I got mine. I suddenly went, that is why I do this, I do that, I feel this so deeply. Why do I get that huge rejection just from somebody saying, you've got a bit of gel stuck in your hair? It's like, why do I then feel the need to cut all of my hair off? Why do I have these extreme pendulum swings, black and white thinking? I didn't know the rules. I didn't know my controls. And now I feel like, you know, I've been an Xbox game, been pushing the PlayStation, going, no, I'm just pushing it back out. And finally I've got, oh, there's 1,000 games on here. There's so much that I can do, so much that I can see. And again, it's the Wizard of Oz thing, it's just the colour palette of everything. And I've stopped focusing on what I can't do, and I'm investing so much of myself into what I can do. And what I can do is a lot. And I can do it a lot better than most people as well. And that was something I always really struggled with. I was like, why can they not see it? And I can see it, but why can't I communicate that I can see it and nobody else can? And with the diagnosis, it's like, just read this. I don't need to explain all of this, all of this, all of this, all
So
of this.
unhelpful.
I'm free.
Yeah.
I'm free from having to explain to you what I don't understand about myself. Now I have the diagnosis, it's like, bugger off, just read this. And it's the freedom of not having to pretend to be somebody you're not just to try and fit in. Having a diagnosis has made me go, the community I've always wanted is out there waiting for me. And we need to start talking to each other and stop listening to other people that have opinions of us that aren't us. Which is why we've done what we've done. We've gone, we want to make a neurodivergent podcast for neurodivergent people.
That's right.
And that's it. It's for us.
We wanted the voices to be heard. Because what is wonderful is that since my diagnosis, since I started on social media, since doing all the things that I did, I've seen the growth of the autistic community, the PDA community, because PDA is a problem, and not because PDA itself is a problem, it's because no one bloody recognises it. As for me, my biggest disability is that, oh, I really want to do that thing. Like, I really want to do that thing. And I really, really want to do that thing. And it's like, it's there, but it feels like there's spikes and there's lava and there's hurdles. And I'm like, why is it that I just can't do that thing? And that thing might be picking up a pair of headphones. And I'm like, they're right there. My ears are hurting. I need to put my headphones on. I can't, and it blocks you. But then there's that thing that I'm like, this will not beat me. This will not defeat me. And I'll push myself through it. It can't happen every day. But my problem was that no one was speaking about these things from personal experience. And then suddenly a whole bunch of people were. But the thing that upset me was that no one seemed to care except for the autistic community. And we're like, okay, it's great. It helps us. It helps us recognise ourselves. It helps us feel more empowered. But it doesn't change what others think of us, because there are powerful organisations out there that will just spitball negative rhetoric at every single person around you, and then you'll get that thing where I go, oh yeah, I'm autistic, and they'll go, oh, does that mean that you need this? And I go, no, I don't need that. Oh, I don't think you can be autistic then. Well, I mean, okay, thanks for that. I really appreciated the fact that because I don't have headphones and sit in a corner rocking, and if you drop pins on the floor, I'll tell you exactly how bloody many there are.
What did you say to me about the haircut? First episode we did. Blew my mind.
Yeah, literally, the first episode of the podcast was what makes me autistic. And the first thing that came out of my mouth, because I had not planned for this, by the way, and I just went, oh, it's my haircut. Because that's the thing. Autism doesn't have a look. It doesn't look like anything. But do you know what? I can see it. I can see it in people. And it's nuances. That's what autism is. It's nuances. it's hidden behaviours because, especially as an adult, you've got a lifetime of masking, a lifetime of being an actor. Every day you are putting on performance after performance after performance. And people turn around and go, you look tired. And I go, well, I would be after doing Wicked 5 times a day. I can't keep up with these performances. I'm not even getting paid for this bollocks. Honestly, it is so frustrating because I was just tired all the time. And then suddenly I get this diagnosis and I start that unmasking process of being my true self. Now, I've always been very straightforward Simon Cowell type person, but I was like, no, there's more to it than that. You know, I can be more who I am. And then you get that point where people go, I don't know you anymore. And you go, you didn't know me before. You knew the acting. I was a caricature of what I thought you wanted, and that caricature would change for every single person I met. I would want to please, that need to be accepted, that desperation to not be on the outside. But do you know how I feel now, Simon?
How do you feel now?
I created my own inside, and I bring my own people in, and I have my own space. And no one can ostracize me from my space because I created it. I created my own community. I created my own strength because I accepted who I was, and I said, I'm not going to play your neurotypical games. I'm not going to play these party games. I'm not going to be part of this. I'm going to do my thing, my way. And I lost friends, but I gained way better friends. And one of the best friends I ever gained was you. And I love you with every ounce of my body. I love you like a brother.
Family, aren't we? Yeah, we are. And that's the thing that I got from my diagnosis, and mainly from doing this with this man. I got my tribe. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are nodding their heads at me. It's because you go, oh, God, blimey, the amount of times that I've just been like, why don't people get me? And it's because you aren't being you. That's why they don't get you. Because you don't get you. How could you expect anybody to get you when you don't get you? And with me, I feel like I was a caterpillar and I had to go into a cocoon and completely melt myself down. I had to atomically melt myself down because you say this to me all the time, my mask is huge. I have played so many roles, I have played so many characters. There's a reason as to why I've done acting. It's because it was easy to me. It wasn't hard, I just did it. It's so, playing a character is the easiest thing I've ever done. Ever. And it always amazes me how truthful I am to myself now and to other people. I've really grown into myself. And that is one of the things that I found really difficult, is letting go of people. And if you know, I got tired of being the bigger man, and I realised it was because I was around small people. And when you go through the unmasking process, what you have to remember is that you're killing somebody's friend, the person that they've known for 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, 5 minutes. You're killing that person because you're having a rebirth. You're going through this, evolving into yourself. You know, we say evolve to be different all the time.
Evolve to be different. That's
all
right.
the time. And do you know what? I was so desperate to fit in with people, and now I don't want to fit in with anybody else. The only people I want to fit in with is my tribe, and that's this man, it's my partner, it's my family. I've made my own tribe because I have decided what the rules are now. I haven't gone, I'm not going to play your games. Like, why in work do people not like hearing the truth? What's that about? The amount of times people go, oh, I really appreciated your honest liar.
You just gave me alexithymia, you bugger.
Sorry, but this is what I mean. It's like there was all these things where I was like, oh, people don't like honesty, so I'll just start lying. Because that's helpful.
Yeah, it is. My work was, everyone thinks that I'm a photographer. I don't know why. I can't even imagine, especially when my pictures aren't even showing.
Tech support. Come on. Get it there, you. It's alright.
Unbelievable.
Buffering, but
Unbelievable. Do you know what? I think you might be autistic.
What? I told you.
With my day-to-day work, I'm a security manager. So I have to adhere to these rules and regulations of, you can't talk about religion, or you can't talk about politics, or you can't talk about this, and you can't talk about that. And then I'd go into work, and I'd be like, this is my special subject. And unfortunately for me, one of my special subjects was evolution. Which you go, well, what's wrong with that? And you go, well, actually, there are some people that don't believe in evolution. And I went, what? And they're like, yes. Some people, you can't talk about that. This is the HR department. They called me up and they went, we understand you're autistic. And I go, I don't think you do. Prepare yourself. And they went, we'd like you to stop talking about evolution. And I went, I'd like to stop talking about evolution. But I bloody well can't. It's my hyper-focus. It's my special interest. And they basically said, well, some people feel that it's insensitive. And I went, what, facts? Facts are insensitive? And they go, look, these people, it's not that they don't believe it. It's just they don't understand it. So I'm helping them. Yes, Darwin, yeah, which is why I called him Darwin. And it took a long time for me to realise that as much as I like to unmask, as much as unmasking is a really positive thing, to be yourself, there are certain times where every human needs to shut up and not say what's on their mind. That has been a big learning curve for me, especially when someone says, do you like my new haircut? And I go, no, it's terrible. And they go, that was rude. And I go, but you just asked me.
Yeah, you don't like the answer, don't ask the question.
Yes. If somebody said, I like my new haircut, I don't care what you think. I'll be like, cool, that's groovy, baby, yeah.
Doesn't that kind of feel refreshing? Like, I was with Jordan the other day, and I was showing him some memes, and he just went, mate, this is getting a bit annoying, can you stop now?
Stop it.
And do you know what? I was relieved, because I was like, I don't have to waste time pretending to force something onto somebody. And we are so alike, but yet we couldn't be any more different. It's like, my special interest is totally different. I don't know what
Yeah, I was going to say the haircut.
Yeah, I've had one as well. Yeah, and I think about all of the things that you and I are as people, and I just kind of look out into this room and I can already see my people. And it's taken me a long time to get to that point. I didn't think I had people. And
I can see my favourite people is whoever's got a cuddly toy.
But
you're the best.
But there have been so many times, and I'm sure other people will relate to this, when I was going through the masking process and figuring out what was going on with me, why I felt so uncomfortable and had pain at 21 in parts of my body, and I was just like, I'm falling apart here mentally and physically. And you kind of just, I don't know where I was going, I'll let Stevens kick in. Anyways,
that's alright, dude.
Yeah, help me. What was I saying?
So I literally forgot your name.
There we go. I was talking about.
So I'm just focusing on the fact that your trainers are just not Jordans.
Oh, come off! Distracted. Yeah, he's not used that. But I was saying with like special interest, when Jordan's talking about evolution and stuff like that, the amount of times I have been sat hearing somebody talk about my special interest, I have just. Oh, you're getting so much wrong. Oh, that's so wrong. And people, believe it or not, don't like to be told they're wrong. Fun fact, I learned the hard way.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. But
Yeah.
I mean, but that would mean that I actually have to let other people talk before I understand that sod that.
Yeah, and that's something that I always used to find really difficult. Is I could recognise that somebody was dying behind their eyes while I'm lecturing about World War II, and I can recognise that, and I just won't shut up. It's just and that is really difficult to live with when you don't know what's happening. I felt like I was just being possessed. I'm like, please, Si, just stop, mate, come on. Look at them, they're dying inside, and yet I was just, no, I have not finished. I need to get to that. We are only in 1940, people. What time? It's just, and it's hard feeling that, where people are just like, I don't care. And the amount of times I've wanted to say to people, I don't care.
To be fair, I'm actually surprised that as soon as you mentioned your special interest, you didn't just go into it.
I know.
I'm proud of you, dude. I'm proud of you.
Take one thing away from this, it's
Yeah.
stop myself.
But I mean, let me tell you about evolution. Damn it. Yeah, it is. It's a roller coaster ride. The whole diagnosis, the whole self-identifying, the understanding, the part of you that as soon as you start, looking at other autistic people and the rhetoric and the things that are written, you get that imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah.
And I definitely live with that imposter syndrome, and that's why I wanted to write the book and speak about us as a people, but from my perspective was because my whole family was like, oh, I think we're also neurodivergent. And I was like, no, I'm the special one. My daughter said, Daddy, I think I'm autistic. I went, shut up, go away. This is my thing. You can't have my thing. I'm the special one. I need attention. Because apparently, I'm a bit of an attention seeker. You. Everybody I know. Well, I was in the middle of a room seeking attention. Who knew? And so my daughter came to me and she said, I think I'm autistic. And I went, all right then, you can have it as well. All right. And that's what made me start realizing of like, oh, this isn't like a disease. This isn't like something this is supposed to exist. This is genetic. This is evolution. It is not the next stage, as like Aliens versus Predator or whatever, try to show you, right? It's not the next stage. We're not better. It's evolution side by side. And the difference is, and this is scientific fact, that has been proven, that I was talking about for 5 years. I did a YouTube video like 5 years ago. The synaptic pruning process that we go through as toddlers, we don't go through it the same as someone with a predominant neurotype. We are the alternative neurotype. It is simply down to the synaptic pruning process. So you have a predominant neurotype that will go through that process of their brain gets bits taken out, little pathways, they get taken out and they get replaced by adult pathways. It happens when in the toddler years, which is the terrible twos, that is the cause of it, is their brain basically being pruned. Then you have the Kevin years, or the teenage years. I'm not your slave.
What are you doing?
What are you?
America.
I still love America.
Actually, it's great. Yeah, we'll play it, yeah.
And that's the second round of synaptic pruning, which is why teenagers are so unresponsive, because their pathways between their amygdala, which is the science, I love it. It makes me feel happy. The amygdala, which is the emotional side of your brain, the reactive side of your brain. So if I'm like this, and I'm just like, ah, and my reaction is of anger and upset, but I have the pathways that will lead to my frontal lobe, which is the decision part of your brain. Those pathways aren't connecting for people, for kids in their teen years. So they will just act on pure emotion without any thought whatsoever. Now, my synaptic pruning is going to be completely different from his and from all of yours.
We could not be more different.
But the predominant neurotype, their synaptic pruning process will be identical, pretty much exactly the same. So this is the irony of about this fun sentence that people keep throwing at me is, when you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. And I'm like, cool. When I've met one person, I've met one person. Autism really doesn't come into it. But they have to bring this into it because we're all the bloody same, apparently, and that's the problem. Is it like, this is a list, you belong to this list. And it's not. We are more individual than the predominant neurotype because our process of our brains is completely unique. It differs for every single one of us. And this is how we get people, autistic people, who get stuck at a very, very young age because their synaptic pruning doesn't take place. They get stuck. And this is why most autistic adults are very, I like this word, immature. And I'm like, we didn't start any wars.
Well, actually,
Shut up, you! I'm trying to make a point. Don't tism it. Don't ruin this with your facts. I'm ADHD in this baby. I'm gone.
I'm not risky with autism.
Yeah, how dare you, sir? But essentially, apart from facts, we, like I said, we're not the problem. We're the solution. The problem is the way that we're treated. And the reason why we are all so similar isn't because we think the same or we feel the same. It's because we are just mentally treated the same. The treatment of us is horrific. It is we are oppressed.
Yeah, trauma is the one thing we all have in common.
Literally. And the thing is this synaptic pruning process that we go through, this very, very differently wired brain, to the point where I'll drink coffee and then immediately fall asleep. And you go, that is how my brain is different. I'll take methylphenidate, which is my ADHD medication, and that calms me down and makes me less hyper. If I gave that to a predominant neurotype, they'd be bouncing off the walls. I'd be like, now you know how I feel every day.
Yeah,
here's a trampoline.
The contradiction to the bit that gets me, it's like I had a Red Bull on an 8-hour flight, I was just like, meta.
It couldn't be more different. And this is due to the fact that we are different. And different isn't bad. Different is different. But unfortunately, what this process means is that we become what I call sensitive beings. We are hypersensitive individually to different things, but we are sensitive. And what people don't seem to understand is we are sensitive to feelings. So rejection sensitivity dysphoria is rife amongst the neurodivergent community because when we hurt, we hurt deep and we hurt long. And it never goes. It's like carrying scars with you.
Yeah, scar tissue runs deep. It really runs deep, doesn't it? It's like, what you're saying is like with sensitivity, I am turned up to 11, 24/7. Doesn't matter whether I'm chilled out asleep or I'm at work and I'm flying around. There are just certain things that I just go, that just kill me. And I don't mean like kill me in like the metaphorical sense. I'm like, I literally, until I got diagnosed, thought I was dying at least once a week. Because I was just like, how can this hurt so much? So much. It's just like a migraine. It's like somebody would just get a metal prod in my head and push it right behind my right eye. It's like, what is that? Where has that come from? And it was because somebody just wouldn't respect me at work. Something as simple as just asking for a bit of accommodation. Somebody goes, man up. What do you do with that? How do you navigate that?
I've hated that sentence.
You can't, I hate it.
Hate that sentence.
It makes me just get angry.
I had so much toxic masculinity thrown at me. Growing, I'm very old. I'm older than he is. Dinosaurs were my friend. And growing up in the 80s, it was constantly, oh man, boys don't cry, boys don't have feelings, you know, be tough. So I was tough, I was aggressive. But I was aggressive, and then autistic, and then I'd fake that, and then I didn't know I'm autistic, and I'm having meltdowns, And people are like, he's very violent. Oh, he's violent. Oh, he's violent. The amount of time, I literally got nicknamed Psycho. And I was like, I don't understand, because I didn't have control of these feelings. They controlled me. And it was scary. So I wasn't aggressive. I was terrified. I lived my entire childhood life being terrified of the people that bullied me, being terrified of my own parents who abused me, and being terrified of myself because I hurt myself and I hurt others and I didn't have control. And it was so scary. And what was even scarier was when I became an adult and had to live in the adult world. And because I'm a security manager, we have to go through checks and stuff like this. And I had to carry this pure fear which drove rage and drove anger. And I had to bottle all of that in. And I didn't understand why. And then suddenly it's like, oh, that's why, and that's why, and that's why. And then because I had that answer, and by the way, when you're autistic, answers are very important. Details. Well, this is why I love having a Google in my house, because I don't know that thing. Google, what's that thing? No. Thanks, Google. Google's like, yo. It's probably wrong though. But in my brain I'm like, well, I think I know the answer to that. Just don't Google what is autism, because that's also wrong. So essentially it was the needing for answers, didn't have an answer. And then when I had an answer, it just helped so much. And that's why I wanted to give other people help to find that answer. And this is why we do what we do. This is why we are who we are. And I am so grateful to you for giving me the opportunity to reach more people than just my Facebook page, because it has given me something that I always wanted, which was support. Because I ran that Facebook page and still run a Facebook page with over 100,000 followers by myself. And funny enough, I've been talking to a few people at this event who are also big on social media, and they're like, oh yes, what do you call the person that helps you?
Assistant.
Yeah, that'll be the one. Yeah, it's like, oh, my assistant will contact you, and I'm like, what's that? I don't know what that is. I took on this thing and it exploded, and I've always felt quite like overwhelmed by it, because I didn't want to bother any of my family. I didn't want to bother anyone else. I was like, I started this, I can do this, and it was severely messing with my mental health, to the point where I actually turned this down. I was like, I'm not doing any more talks. I have nothing left. I had burnt myself out, just given everything. And this guy came along, he's like, I've got you. I've got you.
You can do it, but I'm going to help you do it in a way that you're not going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, that's why I love you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what I needed. I needed my voice, but I needed to do it without hurting myself and hurting other people. And doing this podcast has given me the space where I have an audience of thousands of people, and I don't have to look at them in the eye. That's great.
And no one can tell me that I should be cancelled.
Yeah, but it's like just yeah. It amazes me that the fact that this room is pretty full as well, and it proves that there's a reason why we should be doing this podcast. It's because there are a lot of people out there that can't get on a microphone and talk about how they're feeling. There aren't people that feel comfortable going on Facebook. I certainly don't. And
yeah, I actively hate social media, which is the biggest irony of being huge on social media. I mean, I really hate social media.
It's so difficult because everybody, you feel like if you give into it, you're just trying to be everybody's everything. And you've got to help yourself first. If you can't look after yourself, you can't help anybody else.
Yeah, and it is very easy for me to get fresh out of spoons, baby.
Yeah, it is.
Just gone. And whoever doesn't understand spoon, put me your hand if you don't understand spoon theory. Yeah.
We are.
You lot are, Mark. Right, so this is the point where I go, oh God, really? Is that? We've still got time. I would love to involve people here. And has anyone got any questions?
Yeah, please. Anybody?
Yes.
You were diagnosed later in life. If you go back to your younger selves, like say when you were teenagers, if you were being diagnosed at that point, do you think there would have been different outcomes?
No, because my birth mother is evil. And unfortunately that is actually the case. It's not an exaggeration. She is a very, very terrible human being. And I think that she would have used it in a way for her to gain attention for it. This is why I don't like the rhetoric of autism mum or autism parent. You can be an autistic mum, an autistic dad, autistic parent, but don't use your child's diagnosis to get attention for yourself. It isn't about you. You can find help and solitude with other parents who have autistic children. You can find your space, because I tell you, I've got 2 autistic kids and it is not easy. Being a parent isn't easy. Being a parent of autistic kids, especially when you didn't even understand yourself and had severe mental health issues and just trying to navigate life while also being a parent, I never had that space. So I'm not denying people space. But the idea of like using a child's diagnosis of anything, that's like saying, I'm a blind mum, I'm a Downs mum, I'm a cancer mum. And I'm not comparing autism to those things, I'm simply making the point. But the fact is, I've got to that point in my life where I'm like, no, it's okay, people can just do those things, I'm not going to get triggered by it. But I definitely understand that my own birth mother, who I don't talk to, I haven't talked to for years, she would have used my diagnosis for herself. And I was forgotten about anyway, but I'd have been double. What would have really helped me was methylphenidate, which is ADHD medication. And what that does is it just stops all the noise, because it's constant and always there. It is just so, my brain is so full of so many thoughts and feelings and oversensory moments. And methylphenidate, it just kind of clears out the brush, and I can see better, and I can think better, and I can understand things better. It doesn't make me less ADHD or less autistic. It just means that the disabilities that I have, because my brain is so loud, they don't stop me from doing things. So if I could change anything, I'd like, and this is the irony, I was diagnosed hyperactive when I was a kid. Not autistic, but I was hyperactive, which was ADHD. And if I could have had that help then that would have really helped.
So I think we're running out of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up. But if anybody wants to come and say hello to us, or if you do have any questions that you want to ask us, we've got a little booth upstairs. What's the book?
Sorry, yes, okay. So the Autistic Experience, Silent Voice Finally Heard, was a book that I collated with a friend of mine, Marie Locke, a couple of years ago. And essentially it's a collation of 85 different autistic people from around the world, their experiences, their idea of what their autism is, because that's what the point I was trying to make is it's individual. But basically my wife was really, really struggling with admitting that she was autistic. She'd be like, no. Or one day she'd say, yeah, I am. And the next day she'd be like, well, I'm not like that one. I'm not like that one. So I was like, okay, that's because most of the idea of autism comes from boys. Not men, not women, not girls, boys. White boys. And it is harmful. And it needs to change. And I was like, well, I'm going to get a book put together with mostly women's voices, because I wanted to show her that she was not alone. And she has every right to be who she can be and who she wants to be. So this is why I made this book. It was for my wife, and 85 different people from around the world helped me create that amazing book. And yeah, that's what that is. And you can come to our stall when we leave, and you can get autographs, and I hate saying stuff like that. That's so awkward. Yeah, I said
Anyway,
it.
but guys, thank you so much for joining us today and sitting with us, and I hope that you will continue to listen to being a part of the Neurodivergent Experience. Thank you so much for your time, everyone.
Thank you so much. And yes, we are starting.